Just 2 matches remain in Premier League poker, and it couldn't be closer. Just 1 player has secured a seat at the final table, and 1 player has been confined to the relegation zone. The rest of the places are up for grabs. This will be a battle to the very end. Coming up, 6 of our stars will be making their final stand for Premier League points.
This is what it all boils down to. It's the most important heat so far.
Don't do it.
If I finish first place, I go to the top 4. If I finish last place, I'm in the bottom 4. So it's just like one of those days, everybody's so closely bunched that today's just a massive day.
Poker is the greatest game in the world, man.
I'm going to be a lot more aggressive. It's time to really open up. I've got the position to really launch from.
Mate, let's get a ruling. What's going on here, mate? You're losing complete control of the tournament.
If he's asking for the clock after 1 minute, then I want him to be warned.
I have to win, and it's as simple as that.
Whoa!
If I get a bunch of cards at the start of the heat and build up a decent amount of chips, then I can play and try to get first or second so I can get in the top 4. And if not, I just need to make sure I get at least 5th because I can't afford getting a bagel.
I had a nickname for you. You know what it was?
What was it?
Duracell. You keep raising and raising and raising and raising.
Wow, if I could win this and just go flying through to the finals.
Woo-hoo-hoo! 10 matches have been played, and how close is it? Only JC Tran guaranteed to make the final table. Helpy and Oberstadt in action tonight. It's not just about where they finish, it's who they finish ahead of. They'll need points to make that final table guaranteed. In the playoff zone, Dwan, G, and Helmuth in action. With the field pack this tight, tonight's heat will prove decisive. Helmuth needs to finish in front of the other 2 to feel safe. And in the relegation zone for Andy Black, pretty much only a first will do. He'll be hoping and gasping mathematically if he doesn't win tonight.
Big day today, Tony.
Big day for you.
Big day for you, too. I know this. If I outlast you, I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
That much I know. So
You got to play for survival, baby.
I'm playing poker. I don't care.
You're going to be in a shell.
Every
man.
time I played for survival, I baggled. I'm just gonna play.
It's going to blind off. You might as well not look.
You're gonna blind off.
Today might not be the best day to mess with me because I'm ready to play.
Anything could happen here. We'll find out quickly what plans they have. But what do they plan, Vicky?
I think people's intentions have got to be to win it, Jesse. I mean, nobody at this table has their fate decided. They must decide it themselves. They've got to go for the win.
I think Phil Helmuth is going to have a tough seat here tonight with Dwan and Oberstadt on his left. You know, he's only got 19 points. He's a guy, Vicky, where if he gets a bagel or 2 points, it's actually very likely he is not going to make the top 8. Helpy, first to speak.
I have to make it to top 2 to make top 4 anyway. So.
This is a guy who's actually probably got spreadsheets that he spent last night creating with all the different scenarios. I mean, did you hear? He knows if one person goes out 6th, then he has to get 4th, and if they're in the top 3, then he has to get 2nd. I mean, he knows.
Now, what does Phil Helmuth know in this situation? What about his famous reading skills? Does he know Juha's actually got something? Maybe he
Go
does.
on, then.
It's a good pass.
He has been looking into people's souls the last couple matches, Vicky.
Cool.
That's what he says.
Now, this is probably the worst result for Juha, to be called by the very aggressive and dangerous Tom Dwan with position. Yeah. Even though Dwan's got the worst of it, he's in good shape.
I mean, we can see Tom's hand, but Juha has to pretty much put him on a range of any 2 right now, right?
Very low.
Well, now this is a very good flop for Juha.
I mean, is it possible that Dwan could go broke here?
2,000.
I don't think he can go broke, but I think he's putting more chips in, without a doubt. You know, he hasn't called with the ace-10 to pass on this flop. It's a little too early to go broke with the hand. But he's definitely not passing.
Cool.
We saw him, Vicky, make a great laydown in his last match with 3 10s against Andy Black. So he's capable of getting away from hands. I wonder, this might just slow things up?
Well, what I was going to say was that Tom Dwan can include a lot of outs for himself as well as the 10. You know, diamonds and straightening cards Dwan can use to try and bully Juha off the hand. And this is a card that Juha doesn't want to see.
Check.
a really tricky spot for Tom. He has gone for the check, which makes it more likely that they're going to get to the end cheaply, huh?
Well, I wonder if it's a factor that Tom Dwan is on the 22 points. He doesn't want to go out first. I think in an earlier match he might have made a move on that turn. But if he gets the bagel tonight, it could absolutely sink his chances. He could still be relegated.
Yeah, you're right. For Yuha, the bagel probably means a playoff spot, all for Tom Dwan.
Can
Bagel.
Yuha find the value bet? That's the question. I can tell you he'd make it against me. But he's maybe worried that Dwan would put him all in.
They both want to chop this pot, and now Dwan may do what Peter Eastgate has done in the past, this Premier League, which is...
I think I gotta check with the
Yeah, you don't want to make a value bet that ends up losing you money, does you?
Wow.
No, I mean, it is a sign, though, of Yuha's respect or possibly even fear for Dwan's game that he doesn't make the value bet on the end. After Dwan checks the turn, Yuha should really bet the river, but he's nervous of what he'll be facing if he does.
Any sort of read that I might be beat, it was just, I feel like I'm supposed to check there with the point set up.
Wow, so Dwan is thinking about the points.
This is what I'm saying. It's about the points, you know. If it was Dwan's second or third match, what the hell? Put in the big re-raise. There'll be other chances.
It generally doesn't work that well, but it worked for Tony last year.
Pass.
Tony was my inspiration.
Pass.
He had a lot of points last year, this Tony G character. A lot of points. How many did you win last year?
Raise to pass.
Now, this is interesting for Dwan. Normally, he's raising and raising from quite early, and he would expect to get severe counteraction here.
Oh, no, Annette. Oh, no, Annette. No, no, Annette!
This is not the moment.
Re-raise to 14.
It's really interesting, Vicky, because this is the play that makes her famous. This is her game.
Well, look at Andy Black. He could try the squeeze. He could squeeze.
Cool.
No, he's going to try and flop a set. But what's unfortunate is I bet Annette, as soon as she saw the seat draw, came in with the plan of re-raising Tom Dwan. She's unlucky to find him with a big hand.
He gets no respect. They just don't believe him. He's all in, right? He's
got to move in because of Andy Black's call. I'm not quite sure why Andy's flat called in the middle here.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, then Annette moves out of the way. Andy also, I think, has to pass, but a little bit dangerous from Andy, the call.
That's not the only thing a little bit dangerous from Andy. Look at his eyes, Vicky. Is he thinking about a race here?
He can't do it. I mean, Annette, I think, not sure what she's thinking about. That's going in the muck, maybe trying to make it look like a bigger hand than it was. But Andy's going to hate the fact.
Oh,
What?
I knew it!
Oh, no.
I knew it!
And a call.
I knew it! I knew it. I knew it.
You're the best, Jesse. I mean, I never saw Andy calling here.
You could see it in his eyes.
What are you having it?
What? I'm speechless. Obviously, if I had the 2-7s, I'd have thrown it away for the raise and the re-raise, but to then call it all in? It must be because he's going for the win. It must be because he knows he needs 10 points.
He's Irish.
Pretty safe.
Is that it?
I don't know.
I think if Andy Black loses this pot, he's going to be relegated. You know, 16 points is not enough to make the top 8. Unless some very weird things happen.
Tom's telling Andy he thinks he made a pretty good call.
Runner on a straight possibilities for Andy.
Like a 4, 6, or 9.
Just a 7.
Sweat. I mean, you know.
And the 7 probably to knock Tom Dwan out of the Premier League. And now, actually, not
That's
even...
it. That's it.
Dead as a doornail.
No, he's drawing dead because the 7 now it's no good.
Yes.
Wow.
Pretty good turn card for Dwan on the balance.
I think he's got a bit of scratch left after the hand, Andy, but wow, what a horrible early disaster.
That's 40,000 now between Andy being out of the Premier League and the other players at the table, Vicky, must just be looking over and they're having headaches right now. Dwan is about to torture them.
I feel good. Gives you more energy.
And that is sort of saying right now she hates her seat. You know what? She has a horrible seat. She does.
Well, she does now. I mean, she's trapped between